In Afghanistan, most homes have no central heating. Winter comes differently depending on where you live. In Kabul, temperatures regularly drop below freezing. In the mountain provinces of the northeast, they can fall to -30. In this video, we cover 3 main ways Afghan families stay warm. The Bukhari, a coal-burning stove found in homes across the country. The Chari, its wood-burning counterpart. And the Sandali, a low table placed over a charcoal brazier that the whole family gathers around. We will also look at where the fuel comes from, including one system where a family cracks open 100 kilograms of almonds and keeps nothing but the empty shells.
The diversity of Afghanistan's winter matters because the answer to the cold is not the same everywhere. In the warmer lowlands, a single stove lit at night may be enough. In the high mountain valleys of Badakhshan, where temperatures can reach dangerous lows and snowfall cuts off villages for months, heating is not a comfort, it is a survival requirement. In cities like Kabul, a different problem has developed alongside the cold. Coal is the dominant fuel, and Kabul sits in a valley. In winter, the smoke from hundreds of thousands of stoves has nowhere to go. A heavy smog settles over the city for weeks at a time. The heating keeps families warm inside. The cost outside is real.
The most common heating device in Afghan homes is the Bukhari, a cylindrical metal stove that burns coal. The most widely used version is made locally by Afghan metalworkers from sheet steel. Lightweight, affordable, and easy to replace. A second version is imported, mainly from Turkey. Cast iron, much heavier and 10 to 20 times the cost. It lasts significantly longer, which is why households that can afford one tend to keep it for years. Both versions work the same way. A chimney pipe runs from the top of the stove, through the wall, and vents to the outside. The fire burns inside, and heat radiates outward into the room. Lighting a Bukhari involves a specific technique. A narrow iron bucket, roughly 30 centimeters wide and 50 centimeters tall, is loaded with coal, but not piled in loosely. The lumps are placed around the inside wall of the bucket, with the center left completely empty. That hollow center is filled with arka, juniper sticks. 1 or 2 small pieces of rohani, a resin-saturated pine heartwood, are placed in to act as the igniter. The bucket goes inside the Bukhari first, and then the rohani is lit. It catches the arka, and the arka catches the coal. Once the coal is burning, the Bukhari needs no further attention until it goes out completely, which takes several hours. You cannot add more fuel to extend the burn. When it is done, it must cool fully before you clear the ash and start again from scratch. In most households, the Bukhari is lit once at night. A second lighting during the day depends on what the household can afford.
The Bukhari's counterpart for wood is the Chari. It works differently in one important way. You feed it continuously. Oak logs are loaded through a front opening while the fire is still running. Ash drops into a separate lower compartment that can be emptied without stopping the fire. The Bukhari, by contrast, must cool completely before it can be cleared. The 3 types of wood used in the Chari each have a specific role, and they are used in sequence. The first is rogani, the same resin-heavy fat wood used to start the Bukhari. It catches easily and produces a quick flame, but too much of it creates heavy, oily smoke, so it is used only for ignition. The second wood is archa, juniper, which burns cleanly with very little smoke and picks up from the fat wood to bring the fire to temperature. Juniper burns fast, which makes it expensive for sustained heat, so it serves only as a bridge. The third wood is balut, which is oak. Oak is slow to catch, but burns heavily and for a long time once it is established. The rest of the day runs on oak. Both the Bukhari and the Chari need weekly maintenance. The chimney pipe sections are removed and cleared of soot. On a sheet steel stove, this can be done outside. On a cast iron stove, The weight makes carrying it outside impractical, so the cleaning happens indoors, and soot comes with it.
Coal for the Bukhari comes mainly from Afghanistan's northern provinces. Baghlan and Samangan are the primary sources, and the fuel moves through the country in volume. Hundreds of thousands of tons burn in Kabul alone every winter, and demand rises every year. For households that cannot access coal or wood in the quantities they need, other options fill the gap. Dried and pressed cow dung burns reliably and costs nothing if you have cattle. Gas heaters running on 10-kilogram LPG cylinders are used in urban homes where the supply can be kept up. In offices and well-equipped buildings, electric heaters run where the grid is stable enough to count on.
One fuel source comes from an unlikely place, the almond shell. A merchant delivers a sack of unshelled almonds, around 100 kilograms. The household pays up front, roughly 60 to 70 Afghanis per sack. They crack open every nut, dry the shells, and separate them from the kernels. The work comes with a fixed deadline. The merchant sets a return date, and the household must have the intact kernels back by then. Any that broke during cracking go back too. They keep only the empty shells. Those shells go into the Bukhari, or the Chari, as fuel. They burn well. What makes this striking is the demand. Despite the cost, the labor, and the fact that the household keeps nothing edible, more families want a sack than can get one. Not every family that wants one receives it.
The third method works differently from the stoves. A sandali is a low wooden table placed over a mangal, a shallow metal bowl containing glowing charcoal. Heavy quilts and blankets are laid over the table and spread across the floor around it. The family sits with legs tucked underneath, surrounded by warmth from below. The charcoal is placed in the mangal while still hot, then covered with a layer of ash to slow the burn and prevent flaring. The goal is a steady, slow glow, not a flame. The sandali is not a fast heat. It takes time to build, and it does not warm a room the way a stove does. What it does is warm the people sitting around it, and it does that for hours. What sets the sandali apart from the stoves is what happens around it. Families gather there for meals and tea. Children sit beneath the blankets and do their homework. In smaller homes, people sleep alongside it through the night. The sandali is a heating method and a gathering point at the same time, and the two functions are hard to separate.
The sandali is not unique to Afghanistan. The same design exists in Iran, where it is called the kursi, a low table over a charcoal source covered with quilts. The kursi fell largely out of use in Iran after natural gas pipelines reached most of the country, making centralized heating accessible to the majority. The same design also exists in Japan, where it is called the kotatsu. The Japanese version evolved from a different tradition, a sunken floor hearth that was gradually raised into a table form. The final result is nearly identical: a low table, a heat source underneath, a heavy cover to trap the warmth. These are not the same invention passed from one culture to another. They are the same answer arrived at independently. 3 cultures across a wide stretch of Asia, solving the same problem the same way.
In wealthier households and well-equipped buildings, more modern options also exist, but they are the exception. The Bukhari, the Chari, and the Sandali are how most Afghan families get through winter, with the same designs, the same fuels, and in many homes, the same techniques as the generations before them. For more on everyday life in Afghanistan, visit aboutafg.com.